Hello YouTube! I just wanted to do a quick video that has my rankings for my top 10 favorite 1990s insert sets. I just thought that this would be a fun video to do. I love the 90s inserts. I know like a lot of basketball collectors, especially those of us who remembers collecting cards back in the 90s and remember seeing pictures of some of these chase inserts in Beckett's monthly guide magazine and other things. Before there was internet, and before you can just easily obtain these cards via eBay or other online auction sites. These were just, I think, really coveted, and people pulled all kinds of opened all kinds of packs just to try and pull these inserts back in the day, and I think they are still beloved designs even to this day. And I think that there's proof in that when you saw Upper Deck continue a lot of these insert sets into some of their more recent products, going back to the Fleer Retro sets and that they did back in 2011, 2012, and even to this day, they still pull out the Jambalaya insert set, for instance, and some of their Marvel products and other products that they still do to this day. So yeah, I wanted to do a top 10 uh, overall, including all products. Funny enough, as it turned out, every single one in my top 10 turned out to be a Fleer insert set. I tried really hard to include some Upper Deck and some tops, but there just weren't really insert sets that they made that made my top 10. I mean, I would give a honorable mention to the Beam Team set that Top Stadium Club did, in particular the first year's Beam Team. And it was kind of known as one of the first chase insert sets that people really went after and fell in love with. Um, I'll give them an honorable mention. And I do like the design of the first year's Beam Team for sure, but it still didn't quite make my top 10. All these that are in my top 10, like I said, turn out to be from Fleer products between 1993 and 1999. So I'll go ahead and start the list, and can't wait to see what your all's reaction is to this list. Which inserts that maybe you guys thought I left off of this top 10, and what are your fond memories of chasing these cards from your perspective? Number 10 on my list is the 1993-1994 Fleer Ultra Scoring Kings set. One of the first chase sets that Fleer introduced in their products. This was a really popular set amongst collectors in the early 90s. The real simple design with the lightning bolts in the dark background and the player's picture in the foreground. People started hunting these cards back in the 90s when they first saw their images, I believe, in the Beckett's monthly price guides. It was especially the Michael Jordan card was a real highly collectible card for people back then, and has remained popular, I think, to this day. The odds for these cards was one out of every 36 packs, so roughly about one of these per hobby box. So once again, just it was one of the first chase cards I think people really went after, and has really held up in popularity in this up to this day. Number 9 is the 1996-1997 EX2000 A Cut Above insert set with a really fantastic die cut design of a buzzsaw, a design that you don't see done anymore in today's ultra modern card sets. Card companies just don't even bother with really intricate die cut designs anymore. It seems like it's just probably too difficult or too expensive to do these cards at a high volume. So these die cut designs back in the 90s just were really fantastic, and this a cut above set really is one of those that I've always really liked quite a bit. The odds of pulling these were one out of every 90 packs. So it was not easy to pull these from that set, and I just think that these really rank up there as one of the coolest looking cards from that era. Number 8 is the 1998-1999 Skybox Thunder Noise Boys insert set. Another die cut design, the die cut being of the actual word Noise Boys that's cut out with the player's picture in the foreground. Once again, a really intricate die cut design that you really don't see at all in today's modern cards. So a really bold, fantastic looking font design, and just a really fun looking insert set that really kind of showcases what 90s cards inserts could do and look like back then. These came one out of every 300 packs. So yeah, another insert set that I still love the look of even to this day. Number 7 is the 1997-1998 Skybox Premium Golden Touch insert set. There were back-to-back years of the Golden Touch inserts that came out for Skybox Premium. The 97-98 version is my personal favorite. I just really like the look of this set much better than the other Golden Touch set. The odds to pull these were 1 out of 360 packs. So once again, you probably maybe pulled one or two of these per case back in those days. So odds were very low to get one of these, in particular to get the Michael Jordan or any of the others that were really sought after by collectors back then. Number 6 is the 1998-1999 EX Century Dunk and Go Nuts insert set. This acetate insert set was probably the most popular cross branding insert card sets that I can think of in all of history. I mean, we've seen some examples of these sort of marketing cross branding in sports cards throughout history. None of them have looked near as cool as the Dunkin' Go Nuts insert set. So you've got the Dunkin' Donuts looking font and text, whatever you want to say, with the acetate look of the EX Fleer brand and all these awesome '90s dunkers dunking the ball, giving us some great poses for these insert sets. And the colors, everything about this insert set just looks great, and these cards just look really great in person, especially when you see one up close. So definitely a set I love. These came one out of every 720 packs. So those are pretty crazy odds. Those are about what the Jambalaya odds were, as a matter of fact. So these were very difficult to pull, but definitely worth it if you got one of these. Number 5 on my list is the 1996-1997 Skybox Z-Force Big Man on Court insert set. There are also two straight years of Big Men on Court inserts, just like the Golden Touch insert cards. But definitely the 96-97 version is by far my favorites. Once again, I love the die cut cutouts with the big fonts that they use for this insert set, and the players' images in the foreground of it. There was a parallel version of this insert set that was also available in the same year. But the regular base version, I guess you can call it, still ran you about one out of every 240 packs in terms of the odds to pull these. And yeah, I just once again, I just love the looks of these, and I think these have really stood the test of time. Number 4 on my list is the 1997-1998 Fleer Metal Platinum Portraits cards. The Fleer Metal brand was of course a very popular brand, and these are probably the most popular inserts from that brand during that time period. And just a great design, a great look. How you have basically a card that looks like it's metallic, even though it's not actually made of metal, but the way that they used silver foil and the way that they gave a shadow effect on the players' faces and things of that nature really make these cards just stand out. And yeah, these were Uh, the odds for pulling these were one out of every 288 packs, and I mean, not much more to say about these. Just look at these, and when you see these in person, especially if you ever get a chance to see them in person, they look absolutely stunning. Number three on my list is the 1997-1998 EX 2001 Jambalaya insert set. Basketball fans will know it as Jambalaya. Non-basketball fans might just know it as Jambalaya, whichever way. And I know what many of you are thinking. Many of you are probably thinking this is actually probably too low. This should be either number one or number two on pretty much everyone's list. And I don't necessarily disagree, but this is more of a personal list for me, and the two insert sets that I have ahead of this one are just personal favorites of mine. But there's no doubt that the Jambalaya set is pretty amazing, really unique, extremely hard to pull. They were one out of every 720 packs. Just a great looking design with a real nice, almost refractor like shine to them with the way that they did the colors and the sort of refractor like or foil like images inside the oval shape that they have with the text, and then with the player, of course, in the foreground. It all came together to make one of the most popular insert sets really of all time. And like I said previously, it goes to show how popular it was when you see it recycled into many many products 20 25 years later from when they first came out, and they're still really popular. They still command a premium price point, no matter if you're buying the 1997 versions or even if you're buying the modern versions. Even the modern ones go for a real pretty penny. Number two on my list is the 1998-1999 Fleer Tradition Playmakers Theater set. I just love the look of the set, plain and simple. I think it has a bit to do with the fact that it's a combination of basketball and theater, and I have a love for both basketball and theater. Those are two of the biggest passions of my life, I would say. So having this design where you have almost a grand curtain style theater in the background, with the players in the foreground. It just looks classy. It just looks amazing, and really just kind of always stands out to me. Obviously, these were serial numbered insert cards, serial numbered only to 100. Which, once again, if you're talking about cards getting pulled out of packs back in 1998, 1999, that was extremely low. I mean, just think about the PMGs that everyone loves, but they were serial number to 150, for instance. So it's very difficult to pull these. And yeah, just once again, I just have just a personal love for the design of these cards, and I've always had them at the top or near the top of my list of all time favorite insert sets. And finally, number one on my list is the 1998-1999 Flair Showcase Take It To .net insert set. I guess once again, this is a personal list, and I've always personally loved the looks of these cards. I mean, it is truly an embodiment of the 1990s as they try to make an insert net based off of the internet craze. Even though I find it funny that they labeled it, .net as opposed to .com, but obviously .net is the basketball reference in the name. But yeah, I mean, this is a wonderful design, though, of making it look like a computer chip, the inside of a computer modem, basically in the background. I mean, it's basically almost like an etching. It's so intricate, and I think it's not one that's been replicated in products like the Fleer Retro products or the recent Marvel products that have replicated a bunch of the old '90s stuff in their modern stuff. I think this has not been replicated because it is so complicated and difficult to replicate this design. I think people just don't even want to attempt it. These cards were numbered out of 1,000, so not quite as rare as the Playmakers Theater cards and the PMGs and whatnot. Although there's far fewer of these still out there in the world because the set wasn't near as large as the PMGs and the rubies and things like that. So still pretty rare. And yeah, I love these cards, and they are number one on my list. So thank you so much for watching. I just thought, like I said, that this would be a fun thing to do. I always enjoy talking about 90s cards and 90s insert sets. Once again, these were purely just insert cards. I did not take into other types of cards into consideration that I consider to be more parallel versions of cards, like PMGs and Star Rubies and things of those nature. Aren't really inserts to me. Those are more just straight parallels from base sets and whatnot. So those were not on my list for that reason. But I would still like to hear from you guys in terms of what I left off the list that you would have had on it, and what I had maybe ranked too high or too low. But anyways, thank you so much for watching.